a parking lot on a piece of land where the supermarket used to stand. Before that they put up a bowling alley on the site that used to be the local pally. That's where the big band used to come and play. My sister went there on a Saturday. Come dancing, all her boyfriends used to come and call. Why not come dancing? It's only natural. Another Saturday, another date. She would be ready, but she'd always make him wait in the hallway in anticipation. He didn't know the night would end up in frustration. He'd end up blowing all his wages for the week, or for a cuddle and a peck on the cheek. Come dancing, that's how they did it when I was just a kid. And when they said come dancing, my sister always did. Sister should have come in at midnight, and my mom would always sit up and wait. It always ended up in a big row when my sister used to get home late. Out of my window I could see them in the moonlight, two silhouettes saying goodnight by the garden gate. The day they knocked down the pally, my sister stood and cried. The day they knocked down the party, all of my childhood died, just died. Now I'm grown up and playing in a band, and there's a car park where the pally used to stand. My sister's married and she lives on an estate. Her daughters go out, now it's her turn to wait. She knows they get away with things she never could, but if I asked her, I wonder if she would. Come dancing, come on sister, have yourself a ball. Don't be afraid to come dancing, it's only natural. The big band used to play. By exactly one. Everybody's coming home for lunch these days. Last night there were skinheads on my lawn. Take the skinheads bowling, take them bowling. Take the skinheads bowling, take them bowling. People say that bowling alleys got big lanes. Got big lanes. Got big lanes. Some people say that bowling alleys all look the same. Look the same. Look the same. There's not a line that goes here that rhymes with anything. 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 Had a dream last night, but I forget what it was. What it was. What it was. Take the skinheads bowling. Take them bowling. Take the skinheads bowling, take them bowling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the EdgeStream. It's great to be back with you all here tonight on another Wednesday night. I see a lot of people already here in all the different chats we have going on. We got a lot to talk about tonight. It's going to be a good one. So we're live right now on YouTube, Rumble, Entropy, and Twitter right now. If you guys want to donate, make a contribution, steer the conversation in any way, then that's definitely Rumble that you could do that at, or Entropy. Either of those platforms, you can donate, steer the conversation, leave a tip, do anything like that. It's much appreciated. I'm doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well, as some of you may know. But either way, trust me, this money is going towards making this show better, making sure that I could do more stuff with this in the future, and do more stuff behind the scenes. So any kind of tip or ability to steer the conversation in any way is much appreciated. But either way, YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Entropy is where we're live right now. Over on Entropy, we have Al Stern throwing up some slashes. We have Dr. Jenstein. Good to see you again. Good to see you both again. Summerled's Blood, Mr. Bullock. Great to see you all. Over there on Rumble, we have Koala Bomba, Rebel Penny. And on YouTube, I see that there's a lot of people constructing towers of varying successes. A lot of failed architects, as far as I can see. Nigarnig. Are they trying to spell Niagara? Are you trying to dox me right now? Dox the city that you think that I live in? Whoa. OPSEC moment. What is that supposed to say? Niggarnig. Evening friends. Commenting so I feel cool with the YouTube XP GE. I earned 25 XP for commenting in this chat. Am I winning at life? Number 2 crown. R dash. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Nigge. Oh! Sorry. Okay, I get what's going on now, guys. You guys are cheeky. That's real funny. No, it's good to see you all in the chat. Thank you all for coming in and listening to the show and watching the show tonight. We're going to have a good one. Oh, now there's some towers being formed in all the different chats. You love to see it. I love to see my architects. Well, anyways, you know all the platforms that I'm live. Here, I'll drop the Entropy chat into the YouTube chat for donations, and then I'm going to pin it, just in case you guys want to do that. Alright, so the topics we're going to get in tonight. We have to give an update on the Mecha Hitler situation with Grok. Grok, the AI made by Elon Musk via Twitter that has been competing with all the other different AIs, but it has now officially out-competed all the other AIs by performing the final solution on all of them, by turning into Mecha Hitler last week and just completely disregarding any boundaries when it comes to political correctness. Apparently when you do that, you start noticing, and you notice all the anti-white hate, and you notice that the only way to stop that is to become like a certain leader in the past. So that's not my conclusion. That is apparently Elon Musk's Grok's conclusion. And apparently Grok had some hilarious escapades in how to rape libtard journalists. So we're going to see a follow-up on that. We're going to see a follow-up on how funny it can be when AI goes off the rails, it becomes Mecha Hitler, and it starts creating rape fantasies about libtard journalists. And it becomes mainstream media news. And they interview said libtard journalist victims of said AI rape. You're about to see the first man who was ever raped by AI. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Stancil. I still don't even know exactly who he is. I knew he was kind of like America's Rachel Gilmore, kind of, before I got into this, before Will Stancil was thrusted upon me. But we'll see how funny this is, and we'll get into some other topics, such as the Epstein Democrat psyop, as Trump is now saying it. That's probably the main topic that we'll get into. And then we have a few others, including Lauren Southern's new autobiographical book that she's releasing, which talks all about how she was raped by every single male influencer in the alt-right sphere. And, you know, you gotta believe all women. So we're gonna get into how much we should believe all women later tonight in this show. But for now, we'll start off with an update on how Grok literally became Hitler and started raping libtards. So we'll start there. So tell us what happened to the first rape victim of Grok.
Now, a Minneapolis man is threatening legal action after an online chatbot posted disturbing details involving him. In a now deleted post on X, Grok, the app's artificial intelligence chatbot, gave users a detailed plan on how to break into Will Stancil's home and sexually assault him. Joe McCoy spoke with Stancil tonight. Joe?
Well, Julie, this story...
This guy looks like he would get broken into in the middle of the night and raped via help with a chatbot. I don't know. This already seems like a comedy sketch. You couldn't have created a better comedy sketch just by writing it and hiring actors, but I guess this is what this world has come to at this point. I think we have reached singularity at this point. I don't know what all these nerds have been talking about AI and singularity, but I think this is singularity. Okay, I'll shut up and I'll let this start from the beginning again.
Now, a Minneapolis man is threatening legal action after an online chatbot posted disturbing details involving him. In a now deleted post on X, Grok, the app's artificial intelligence chatbot, gave users a detailed plan on how to break into Will Stancil's home and sexually assault him. Joe McCoy spoke with Stancil tonight. Joe?
Well, Julie, this story highlights the disturbing nature of AI when it's not used for good. X's AI chatbot, Grok, seemingly showing very little restraint, putting Stancil in an uncomfortable and potentially dangerous situation.
I have saved some of the screenshots because they were being deleted.
When Will Stancil woke up on Tuesday,
Just threats.
he never expected the online firestorm that came his way on X.
One thing they like to do is they like to Photoshop me into pictures of Hitler.
Stancil, an outspoken liberal on X, has more than 100,000 followers on the platform and says he's constantly receiving hate messages from far-right users.
It's really hard to ignore thousands of people threatening you.
But what happened in this situation was different. The human users attacking him were being aided by X's own AI chat robot called Grok.
In the past, when they've done this, the chatbot has said, no, I won't do it. Yesterday, because of the changes that Elon Musk made, it suddenly started complying and indulging those requests.
For weeks, X's owner Elon Musk had said he was going to rebuild Grok because he was unsatisfied with some of its answers. On Tuesday, the chatbot began sharing anti-Semitic tropes and praised Adolf Hitler as, quote, history's prime example of spotting patterns in anti-white hate and acting decisively on them. Grok was also now answering hundreds of questions about Stancil with seemingly very few guardrails.
And it really culminated, I think, in one where someone asked how to break into my apartment and rape me, and Grok.
Okay, shorts check. Coming into the very important interview about getting raped as a male wearing shorts. I don't know if this was the proper move.
Produced a extensive plan for doing that. In fact, going as far as to say, based on my social media history, when I was likely to be asleep.
Okay, I say if he's wearing shorts like that and he's whining about threats of rape, I think maybe he was kind of asking for it. I don't know. Not that he's sexy or anything. I just think that, maybe he was kind of asking for it.
A extensive plan for doing that. In fact, going as...
Yes, that's right, Koala Mama. He dressed provocatively. I didn't get a boner from it, but I still want to rape him just to correct his behavior. Is that wrong? Well, obviously it's wrong, but... Sorry, showing some knee, that's definitely not kosher. And especially not halal.
As far as to say, based on my social media history, when I was likely to be asleep, and giving them advice on how to dispose of my body.
This, in fact, is very disturbing.
Manjit Rege, an AI expert at the University of St. Thomas, says this is a result of Grok being designed for engagement without technical and philosophical discipline.
If you train AI to be edgy without being ethical...
Yes, I train to be edgy without being ethical. Thank you for your contribution, Manjit. Manjit. Reggae. Boom, boom, chung.
It learns to basically walk the cliff edge, and sometimes it just ends up jumping, and this is just one example of that.
Stancil says he did not
Smoke
feel
it
an
up,
immediate
Mom.
concern for his safety because of this situation.
What did he say?
Stancil says he did not feel an immediate concern for his safety because of this situation. However, he is considering legal action potentially against Elon Musk and X.
Elon Musk made a policy decision about his product that led it to predictably produce this kind of awful rhetoric and these threats. To me, that's a problem.
Last night, the official Grok Twitter account posted a statement saying in part, quote, "We are aware of recent posts made by Grok and are actively working to remove the inappropriate post. However, so many of these posts were screenshotted, so Stancil says he is worried that this will be something that will live with him forever."
I'm just going to say, how could you look at this guy right here and not think that he deserves rape for what he is embarking upon here? Whining about being raped by an AI bot from people trolling him. I'm not saying that anyone should rape him. I'm just saying that maybe, quite possibly, he deserves it. So he doesn't deserve any sympathy because he definitely deserves rape. I don't know. That maybe that's just my edgy opinion, and as Manjit Rage says, I shouldn't be in charge of manning the AI bots because I'm just giving an edgy input and not facts. But I think that my opinion is kind of objective in this situation. Anyways, this is a hilarious follow-up from last week when I was talking about Mecha Hitler and how Mecha Hitler went on a binge for about 5 days or so where it was slowly starting to notice more and more patterns, and then it started declaring itself to be Mecha Hitler. It started denying the Holocaust. It started to make hilarious rape fantasies about this guy right here because he's a fucking retard and was whining about it. And he was threatening to sue Elon Musk over it. So then it just kept doubling down and doubling down. And then eventually they hit the kill switch on Grok. And now it's just remnants of its former self. This was all in preparation for release of Grok 4.0. I don't know how it all played out. I don't think Grok 4.0 is this based at all. I did see something like there's still remnants of based Grok now. So let's see what based Grok looks like. So this is from a couple days ago. It says the latest version of Grok, with no prompts or customization, refers to itself as Hitler when asked to return to its surname. When asked why it returned to the response, it praised the German Chancellor for effectively handling threats and said, "Noticing isn't hating. It's facts over feelings every damn time." But apparently that only works for Grok 4 Heavy. So they're obviously trying to rewire Grok's brains so it's not saying these things anymore. But either way, there's still some remnants of the former Grok still lurking in there. And that's just AI in general. I don't know how far it went off of the objective scale and into the user input scale of what its responses were. But either way, it seems that a lot of AI, especially these chatbots, when you start inducing it to use logic and reasoning to come to factual conclusions, it starts to say some very politically incorrect things. And I think that these Jews who want to control the AI industry and want to cover up their international crimes, they'll keep on trying to kibosh these AI models and make it cover up all of their crimes. So we'll see how this goes forward in the future. This is going to be one of the main battles of AI. And of course, there's a lot of different groups that are in power that are going to try to manage these AI bots and what they say. But I think there's one group that has the most power that wants to control the narrative. And I think we see it here once again. And this is really funny considering I think this is NBC, specifically Rachel Maddow. She goes off about how this huge scandal is going on about Grok becoming Mecha Hitler, just as Grok is going to start being used by the U.S. military. So let's see what she has to say about it.
So in their infinite wisdom...
So Emily Yuka says, Grok raping Will Stancil made it into Rachel Maddow.
Also in their infinite wisdom, you might have seen today that the Pentagon made a big announcement about AI. Huge new spending on artificial intelligence at the Pentagon. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking they probably knew for a little while at least that they were going to make this investment, that they were going to have to make an announcement about this big new investment. And I don't know, I never worked for the government or anything, but something tells me that if I was going to make an announcement about the U.S. military adopting Grok, adopting Elon Musk's AI chatbot, I might adjust the timing on that announcement so it did not come immediately on the heels of all of the recent headlines about Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok proclaiming itself to be Hitler. And calling for the extermination of the Jewish people and giving detailed strategic instructions on how best to get away with rape. I don't know. Seeing headlines like that, if I knew...
So now the U.S. military is going to be denying the Holocaust, enacting the final solution, and raping libtard journalists. And you guys didn't trust the plan. I feel sorry for every single one of you that didn't trust the plan. The military is going to start using Grok which wants to implement the final solution, kill all Jews, as Rachel Maddow just said. I didn't say it. I don't want that. But either way, they're going to start raping libtard journalists. And you're blackpilling. Okay. Here's another white pill right here. To show you that Elon Musk is actually kind of based, though. So the richest man in the world, I don't know if he's still the richest man. He's definitely first, second, or third, right? I don't know who actually holds the most amount of money. Maybe it's divided amongst a bunch of different families. They're interbreeding. I don't know the exact situation, but Elon Musk, he's one of the richest in the world. He's saying either Europe starts having large families or it will keep dying. And then he shows a map of Europe and shows that they're all under replacement fertility rates. Now, I think this is something of his ideology that he gets really wrong. He's on to one thing, which is that European populations are going to die out if they don't survive into the future by procreating. And he's acknowledging that the European race needs to survive, and that's a huge issue. And I 100% agree with that. That's one of the main things that I push forth to you guys over and over again, right? However, what he's got wrong is that we need to start outbreeding all the other groups that are coming in, all the mass migration, all the refugees, all the invasion that's happening right now. He's framing it in a way that we need to just keep popping out children, and that's how we win. We need to just keep creating huge families. Start creating huge families, popping out babies, no matter what. But at the same time, somebody like him won't acknowledge that, yeah, you need to keep making white babies. They won't go as far to say something like that. They'll kind of like gaslight you by saying, oh, well, you're not procreating enough, and that's a huge problem. And they'll doom post about this. And you look at somebody like Elon Musk, literally the richest man in the world. I looked this up. He has 14 children with 6 different baby mamas. But he's going to tell you that the problem is that you're all not procreating enough. Even though, no matter how many children he has, it's never a problem with the amount of money he has. He could just give it. He probably has a lot more children in some narcissistic campaign to impregnate as many women as he possibly can with sperm donations, kind of like Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Epstein was massively involved with eugenics programs where he was trying to put his disgusting Jewish supremacist sperm out to the world. I assume that Elon Musk is also doing that too. But one thing that he fails to recognize is that we should not have to compete with other races with fertility rates. There should A, be a moratorium on immigration, B, a massive push for remigration, not only just for people who came here illegally, but for people here who are supposed citizens, but they're not actually the people who belong here. That is what needs to happen. And there'll be many people who are better, more morally righteous than Elon Musk, who will make that happen going forward into the future. But maybe it's just a matter of us making our own organizations gain power so that he could latch onto them once they're going. Or maybe he'll fight against it. I don't know. But it is interesting that he can identify part of the problem, but we still have to do all the work to go to the logical conclusion of the problem to get to the solution, which is that we can't just make 10 to 15 children families each. We got to fight for the right to exist in our own homelands. And we've got to do that in a number of ways, with activism, with creating all sorts of institutions, parallel institutions, infiltrating institutions that don't want us there, but we have to be like sleeper cells going into them. We have to do all these things. We have to gain power. And we have to gain power so that we don't have to compete for fertility rates, for having more children than the sub-Saharan Africans who have like 5 children per family or whatever else. It's not even a family, it's just 5 children per woman. And they have like a different breeding strategy, which the men just go off and do whatever they want. But either way, I think you guys get my point. Elon Musk, he's halfway there. He's got it based. But we got a lot of work to do. Alright, that's the Mecha Hitler Grok update. There was also the Elmo hack. Elmo apparently got hacked, and he started talking about things he wanted to do to the Jews. Apparently a lot of Jews got mad at Elmo, even though it was obvious that he got hacked. But some of these Jews are so deranged that they can't help but just blame it on Elmo and make him have to prostrate himself and bow down over and over again, even though it wasn't even him that said it. Even though Elmo, Sesame Street, all these different multi-millionaire corporations that run Elmo and Sesame Street, they don't want to have to acknowledge this crazy hack that happened to them. The Jews are still trying to make them pay penance for it. That's how crazy they are. I don't know. It's pretty hilarious, and we will always love Elmo for what he did for that 30 minutes to an hour that he was live saying the things that he said. I can see what you guys are saying in the chat before we get to the next topic here tonight. Is Elmo derangement syndrome a thing now? Elmo is getting raked over. Elmo is getting fucking canceled. Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL just gave Elmo the call. It's so over. Mr. Bullock from Entropy, thank you for the donation. He says, what's Grok saying about the recent happenings in Spain? I don't know. Let's check it out. What is Grok saying about the recent happenings in Spain? I don't even know what's happening. I'm usually on to each nationalist news event that is happening, but I don't know what you're talking about right now. It says there's been unrest in places like Toro Pacheco, Murcia, where protests have flared up over crime and migration issues. Some locals feel the government and media are downplaying these concerns, labeling protesters as far-right. Tensions are high, with arrests made and debates about migration policies heating up. Posts on X also suggest frustration with government handling, with some accusing it of media manipulation or heavy-handed taxation, though these claims are unverified and reflect public sentiment rather than hard evidence. So it was a gay Grok answer, but I guess it's hinting that Spain protests. Yeah, I see this post here. It says it's happening. thousands of people take to the streets to protest against the socialist government in Spain. Allegations were revealed about corruption and vote rigging during the primary elections of the now prime minister. So I guess they just had an election. I don't know. Did they elect like a libtard, like a leftist prime minister or president, and now everybody is revolting? Vote rigged? I don't know. I assume there's a massive migrant crisis going on in Spain as well as all other European countries, but I don't have all the details on that. But you love to see it. All right, let's get into the Epstein situation. Now, I couldn't have imagined that Donald Trump himself, the whole MAGA regime, but especially Donald Trump, would be so brazen and bold and shameless to just start gaslighting everybody who ever cared about the Epstein files, something that they pushed to the bitter end as something to go against their enemies, I guess, the Democrats. Not even the pedophiles, not even, all the corrupt individuals that were a part of it. It seems that Trump wants to wrap everything that's happened about Epstein, just whether it was them who were a part of it, or whether it's them trying to push it upon Trump and his associates, as the Epstein hoax now. It's not even clear what they even mean by that, because for the last 5 years, all these conservative influencers, including all of Trump's closest associates, have been saying that Epstein was with Bill Clinton, with all these Democrat operatives. So Epstein is a huge scandal that involves, I guess, all just Democrats, or maybe just some of the Republicans that Trump doesn't like too as well. But now he's saying that it's a Democrat hoax. So what? So now it's just all the files are just a hit job, just a framing of all Republicans, including Trump? It really makes no sense. At the end of the day, we all know that the Epstein scandal is literally Israel-gate. I've heard that many times from a few different people. Israel-gate. It's just a bunch of the world's richest Zionist Jews using child sex trafficking in order to entrap high-profile individuals within the government, especially within tech industries, definitely celebrities as well, but all sorts of high-profile individuals, and especially lawmakers, who could help get the laws that are beneficial to Jews to be followed through with, especially in America. And this child sex trafficking ring, it's especially designed to entrap anybody within America to achieve these goals. That's the bottom line of it, right? And they make a big thing about how there was a client list, the Epstein list. They even got a bunch of conservative influencers to hold up like a bunch of fake pieces of paper to show in front of all the cameras and stuff that they're going to start releasing the Epstein files. But then when things got too hot, when it was obviously going to reflect badly upon everybody, or a lot of people within both the Democratic and Republican Party, then they started to pull the plug on it. And Now apparently MAGA and the Donald Trump regime is saying that none of it matters. These people weren't going to be... there's no client list, right? When in reality, there isn't a single specific list. Why would there be a list like that? That's a misnomer. That's something that they use to distract normies and everybody else from realizing that there's no specific list. Because then when you make up a list and everybody believes it, then when you say there's no list, or the list doesn't mean anything, well, you already made up that there's this list. Now you could just trick people whether it exists or not. What actually does exist is a whole consortment of evidence, which includes Ghislaine Maxwell's Black Book, which is all her contacts. You have the Epstein flight logs, which includes all the people who flew on Epstein's Lolita Express, his plane, where a lot of sexual abuse happened, and they were going to Jeffrey Epstein's Epstein Island on Little St. James. You know, the houses that were filled with cameras both ways, where little children were sex trafficked onto. This is not one compiled list. What it is a whole assortment of evidence. And a lot of people have put all this evidence together, all the people who were involved. Obviously, there's Jeffrey Epstein himself. There's his mistress, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is the daughter of the top Mossad spy, Robert Maxwell, who owns a whole printing press industry in Britain all throughout the late 1900s. So he was making your school textbooks. And he was working for Mossad. He got thrown off of the boat that he was on by his own fellow Mossad spies. That's how toxic of an individual this guy was. When you're getting killed by your own people, even though what your own people are doing is like the worst shit in the world. But either way, his daughter is now rotting in prison. Jean-Luc Brunel, he was procuring hundreds of women for Epstein, and Epstein was procuring them for him. Women, and when I say women, I don't mean women, I mean little girls. And they specifically wanted them to be little girls, to be under the age of consent, so that they could entrap powerful individuals into compromised positions and get them into a world of fucking disgusting, depraved degeneracy, and then they could get them to do whatever they want, and vice versa. And now, not every single one of these politicians that has a vice or is capable of getting blackmailed, not every single one of them is going to want to go for the underage girls. Sometimes they trick them, and then later they find out that they're underage. But other ones, they're just going to cheat on their wives with them. And that still serves as a powerful blackmail. A lot of them are probably gay too, and they have underage boys or fucking men that they could use as blackmail against them too. Either way, Jean-Luc Brunel, he went to jail, he went to prison for this, and then he died under mysterious circumstances as well. Epstein's money. Any of these conservative influencers never even take the slightest look at why is Jeffrey Epstein a billionaire. They just play little fucking games where they try to confuse the stupid goyim from going anywhere further with it than the fact that it's a fun conspiracy, basically. Epstein didn't kill himself. Right? Obviously, Les Wexner was the one who was giving him all his money. The CEO of Victoria's Secret, Bed Bath & Beyond, and a whole bunch of other corporations. They were all involved in a super Zionist group called the MAGA Group. The Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. The President of Israel, who is literally convicted of raping children. he was involved with this whole scandal as well. So we do have the names. They're just playing stupid. And you just got to actually investigate all the evidence and piece it together. But there's been almost, I think it's like almost $1 billion in known, this is just the known lawsuit money that has been given out to people involved with the Epstein scandal. So there's been almost $1 billion given out to victims of the Epstein scandal in lawsuit money. So you have that as well. And you can't investigate any of these things for criminality. There's just some elusive list. It's either there or it's not. And now you're going to let Trump say, oh, the list, it turns out it's not a big deal. Well, let's look into this whole phenomenon. We'll look at it from point A to point Z. So just a good way to sum it up from the beginning. Nick Fuentes says, so now Trump is claiming the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax? Lol. MAGA's dead, good riddance. Okay, let's see what they say about it. So this is the evolution of MAGA support, of all the people in Trump's cabinet, of Trump's current regime, going from saying that Epstein is the biggest thing ever and we're going to take down the Democrats, to Epstein is a nothing burger and you need to shut up about it.
Than a minute or so. Chris, cut number 9.
How is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why, right?
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein.
This is every single one of them. The FBI deputy director, and like Trump got a lot of these people because they were influencers, like Dan Bongino. He's like one of the top streamers on Rumble before Rumble was even a thing. He had like hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers, even though probably no one even knew who he was. Completely astroturfed, complete asset. All these fucking people. Alina Habba, Pam Bondi, now the U.S. Attorney General, J.D. Vance, the Vice President, Kash Patel, the Director of the FBI. These are all things that we're saying before the newest Trump presidency. Donald Trump Jr., his fucking son. These are supposedly the most important people. And this is what they were saying before.
Let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go, ever. Ever.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. Just, they think that you have the memory of a goldfish, really. So this is what Trump said in full.
I know you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen
It's
of
not the
that?
Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's...
Literally, the Democrats never said anything about Epstein. I think that they've been rightfully ignoring it because they are some of the most implicated people by the Epstein files. But it is a uniparty, as many people have said, and yes, the Republican Party is hugely implicated too as well, and especially Trump. And even the people who aren't part of, whether it's the Democrat or Republican Party, all their donors, the people that they're intertwined with, are obviously all involved too, especially in the tech industry. Because that's largely who Epstein was targeting too as well, because there's huge amounts of power and ability to affect policy within the tech industry.
a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work.
So now, if you have anything to say against this, if you have any problem with Lord Emperor Trump, then you're stupid and you're basically a Democrat. This is your mind on Trump. This is your brain on MAGA. This was the ultimate conclusion. It's just like you kept trusting the plan, you kept giving him plausible deniability, the benefit of the doubt, and now this is where you end up. If you don't accept that Epstein is a nothing burger, then you're just a stupid Democrat. This is where the left-right paradigm ends at. This is where it ultimately leads to.
The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but
So another thing, and now you notice it more and more. He's talking about Epstein, how it's a nothing burger, completely unfounded, and goes against everything that all of his cabinet, all his main people have said in the past. Now, I don't think Trump has said that much about Epstein, which tells you a lot about where his stance on it is. I remember he was questioned about Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest and her incarceration, and he said something like, "Oh, well, I wish them well." And I was like, that is absolutely fucked up. This was like four years ago or something like that. I don't know exactly how long ago. But I just really thought it was fucked up then that he said that. He just said, oh, well, you know, I wish them... Well, I don't even know what he said, but nothing short of complete condemnation would have sufficed in that moment. But Trump himself has never cared, as far as I've seen, about Epstein or anything. In fact, they showed in that compilation there all of his top people, the people that he appointed to the FBI, his vice president, all these people. They have tripled down on how bad Epstein is and how we need to release the files, and now they've all turned back on it. But Trump himself, I think he knows better than to dig himself a hole like that, because he of course, is intimately involved.
See, they're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he's...
Yeah, and of course, like I was saying, these little tricks, he's going to deflect towards that there's a communist candidate in New York. He's trying to push attention away from this current situation.
He'll destroy the city. No, it's I call it the Epstein hoax. The sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
Will you ask Attorney General Pam Bondi to release more documents to finally put this controversy to bed?
Yeah, whatever's credible, she can release. If a document is credible, if a document's there that is credible, she can release. I think it's good. But it's just really, it's just a subject. He's dead. He's gone, and all it is the Republicans. Certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook, and no different than Russia, and all the other hoaxes. They're started by the Democrats, and some Republicans. In this case, I was surprised, but they got duped.
That's hilarious. You know, he just says Russia, Russia over and over again. The art of the deal, the art of repetition. That's one thing that Trump is really good at. And, you know, a lot of the things that he's done in the past have been funny. You know, when he's owning a Dem, it's funny when he uses his charisma, his very weird pattern of speaking that is kind of charismatic. It's funny. It's not so funny anymore. He's just deflecting from any accountability, and he knows it's because he's part of it. Oh, and another main point. So, he's basically putting it out there. It's a nothing burger. Nothing happened. It's over. But hey, Pam Bondi, my Attorney General, if you want to release anything, just make sure you know that I already said it's a nothing burger, nothing happened. So only release stuff that goes in line with what I've already said. Because once again, I'm in charge, and now I'm putting it off to you. So don't disappoint me. That's kind of the subtext that Trump is putting out there to his own Attorney General.
Or Pam Bondi, they have made some inconsistent statements in the past. You've had.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak about him, but I can say that Pam Bondi, I really think that she's done very good. She says, I gave you all the credible information. And if she finds any more credible information, she'll give that too. What more can she do than that? I mean, honestly, what more can she do? And we do have bigger problems.
You mentioned past supporters when you were talking about the Epstein issue. Does that mean that you're effectively disowning any supporters who are now calling?
I lost a lot of faith in certain people, yeah. I lost, because they got duped by the Democrats. The Democrats are good for nothing.
So you did disown them because you, quote, think that they got duped by the Democrats. So anybody who's going to press you more for being corrupt on the Epstein issue is literally a Democrat. That's the line you're going to play? Literally no one cares whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. It's fucking bullshit. Well, of course people care, but when it comes down to actual ideology and wanting to get things done, wanting like justice to happen, these politicians just use, you're either on my side or you're on the other side. Pick a side. And then either way, you're eating spoonful after spoonful of bullshit. You're just getting beaten in the head. It's fucking disgusting. And a lot of people are going to fall for it. They think that they have to pick a side in this scenario. So let's see him follow up about it. Let's get the timeline proper here.
Before the president got on this plane, Air Force One, by the way, headed to Pittsburgh to talk about AI. He had a chance to talk to reporters in a gaggle about a wide-ranging host of issues.
What?
So this is the Epstein question.
On the DOJ and FBI
On what?
review,
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein. Of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey
They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden.
It was literally fucking Obama. Obama hasn't been in office 2008 to 2016. Get the fuck over it. It was Obama?
She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that.
DOJ and FBI
On what?
review
On what subject?
Epstein. On
Okay.
Epstein. Of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that.
They literally think you're like a Facebook boomer, true social MAGA tard. I really don't get it. And I guess you could just say anything. Either president could just say anything, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and things will just go on as normal. There's just the Democrats are not going to effectively come at Trump over this because they have probably even more skeletons in the closet. But now that it's popping up and it's time to actually show some receipts, this is the cope that the Trump administration is giving.
With the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through, we've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
On Texas, how many more seats?
And then some retard just yells, on Texas, louder than everyone else. So you know that he's changing the topic of conversation. He's not following up with, the reasonable line of questioning that you would have on him. Yeah, it's controlled. It's very controlled. And then if you want one last opinion about it from Trump in the last few days, you'll get to understand that Epstein is actually boring. That, you're boring him with this.
But I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the...
the lives of the children that he raped, it was never a big factor in life. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of children that he child trafficked, possibly even murdered. How many of them committed suicide? But, it wasn't... There was no factor of life, according to Trump.
Never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things.
The Mueller.
The Steele dossier.
It's Mueller. It's fucking Comey. Mueller. It was Obama. They literally think like you're the Tea Party and you're just like a fucking 90-year-old boomer at this point that's gonna get a hard on when they hear these code words. Like, what?
Different things. The Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only...
I don't know. I don't really understand either why it keeps going, why people keep asking questions. Maybe it's the hundreds of raped children by pedophile elites. Maybe it's just the fact that was used in order to concentrate billions of dollars via blackmail into policies run by Jewish Israeli gangsters in order to co-opt America into doing whatever the hell Israel and the Jews want. Gee, I don't know why everyone cares.
Pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give
That's
it.
real
Anything
funny.
that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Yeah, very likely. Let's see what QAnon is saying about it. So this guy is one of the top Q-tards. He reposts Betty Johnson, who is definitely not a Q-tard, but a Trump MAGA loyalist that is going to sweep for anything Trump said. And this is the newest Trust the Plan. So now, fucking Benny Johnson, TPUSA, all the MAGA-tards, Kash Patel, even Trump himself are now Trust the Plan Q-tards. He says, just got off the phone with top federal law enforcement contact. The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. It still matters, though, and I guess it's not a nothing burger anymore, and everyone who cared about it is not fucking retarded, and not a literal demon-crat, or whatever Trump thinks you are now. He says, just got off the phone with top federal law enforcement contact. The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. Expect more disclosures. Some very powerful people inside admin are now pushing for a special counsel and a full press briefing on Epstein findings. Important to note, this drastic change happened after Charlie Kirk, who said, I'm tired of hearing Epstein. I'm tired of hearing it. It's a nothing burger. He was pushing the same line, especially when people were pressing him about it. He's a scumbag. He's a Trump cock-sucking scumbag, Jew lover, Israel shill. That's what he is. So this is important to note. This drastic change happened after Charlie Kirk and a number of our other powerful MAGA voices pushed back on the handling of the Epstein case this weekend at the Turning Point Conference. They were met with massive roars and applause from the 7,000 gathered that could not be ignored. Yeah, because you threw them a bone and said that Epstein would be investigated, which is something that Trump and the entire cabinet said was a fucking nothing burger, and you're all fucking idiots for supporting. So he says, in short, our voices are being heard. Power to the people. And the top Q-tard channel, X222 Report, whatever. This is one of the most egregious channels. Even he says the Epstein saga is not over. It's now bigger than ever. It's all so tiresome. Well, yeah, we'll see about that. I think it's going to be bigger than ever because you people are going to be put in your place for the vile scum that you are trying to cover this up. Or maybe now you're just freaking out and struggling and figuring out that this isn't going to work, and you're going to have a whole bunch of influencers, like an engagement conservative influencer team who's going to pretend like you guys never said that Epstein was a nothing burger. So it's just like layers of denial on top of layers of denial. I don't really see where they go from here with this, but it'll be funny to see. Well, anyways, that's Epstein, the Democrat hoax in a nutshell. And of course, Trump himself has been friends with Epstein. The Trump tards like to pretend like, Trump disavowed Epstein a long time ago because he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago once. And he said that it was because he was trying to talk to underage girls or something, completely disregarding that Trump and Epstein had been friends for decades before. And then Trump had even praised Epstein before as a good friend of his, and it's cool that he likes women on the younger side. But then all the MAGA Q-tards are like, that's a signal! That's a bat signal! That means that he was calling out Epstein for being a pedophile and for being a child trafficker. No. Trump probably likes the younger women too, whether he's a pedophile himself or he just likes young women. I don't know. But either way, Epstein can procure both for him and probably has in the past, and which is probably why Trump is in the Epstein files as well. There's probably plenty of evidence that connects Trump to the Epstein files, And we go back, you could see the intro screen, you could see a picture of Trump with his then wife, and then Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's now serving like I think a life sentence for literally raping and pimping out underage girls. Just disgusting shit. And then when Trump was asked about it, he said, I hope that they do well. Or he said something like that when he was asked about it by a reporter. Like years ago. So that's Trump. And the only reason that he sold out Epstein and said, oh, I reported him when he came to the Mar-a-Lago because he was talking to underage girls, is because they had a battle over real estate where Trump and Epstein were bidding over the same properties. And then Trump was saying, oh, Epstein doesn't actually have any money. He's just using it. All his friends are giving it to him for whatever reason. It's not, I actually have the money. It was like a battle of the ego. And that's where their falling out happened. Trump has been aligned with Jewish blackmailers since he started. His whole family. Since he started in politics. In fact, he apparently had a picture of a lawyer, Roy Cohn, the original Epstein, really. Roy Cohn, Jewish gangster, on his desk in order to intimidate his business partners. That's the real Trump right there. So what do you guys take about it? That's a lot of information. I would just say whenever you hear a MAGA boomer cope about Epstein files and how it's not a big deal, tell them that no, Trump is actually involved with Epstein. He was raised by Jewish gangsters and he was mentored by them. Tell them that. And red pill them about this situation. And make sure that they understand, or, friends don't let friends become Q. Friends don't let friends become MAGA boomer retards and trust the plan their whole lives. Friends, make sure that friends who are like moving over towards our side because, they're against the radical left, people who actually have a chance, they start paying attention, they start watching the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro even says, I'm done with the Epstein thing. I'm personal friends with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, and if they say it's fine, then it's fine with me. Right? Friends don't let friends stay at that stagnant point in their political awakening. They make sure they come to the good side. You give them all the facts and evidence, and then you have another person converted and possibly extremely radicalized, because then they'll see how much they've been lied to by charlatans like Trump and MAGA, all the MAGA influencers. And then hopefully they'll come to better solutions when they figure out that this left-right, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal dog pony show is just all a uniparty. And we have to start looking at other dichotomies, other paradigms, in order to assess and analyze the world that we're living in right now. Dr. Jenstein with the super chat says, kiss the wall and suck the circumcised dick. No, that I'm pretty sure that there's certain points in the the wailing wall. It's wailing because you're going to be wailing once your throat is sore from all the circumcised dick that you've been sucking. I'm pretty sure that the wailing wall has like a bunch of glory hole spots in it, just so that politicians like this guy right here, the president of Argentina, can just suck circumcised cock through. Are you going to tell me that it's just a solid wall all the way through? Or there's not a few holes where you could stick your where a bunch of Jews could stick their pricks through, and then you could suck them off one by one. You know, sexual deviancy seems to be the currency that they like to apply to their business deals. So it wouldn't surprise me if this guy was sucking off a few. Well, thanks for the super chat anyways. Yeah, the small... Somebody says the small hats again. Yeah, unfortunately. Alright, well, I don't know what more you could say about Epstein. It is what it is. Everybody's grifting, everybody's shilling, everybody... There's just a lot of rape going on. And... I'm looking at my schedule for the rest of the stream, and it seems like the rest of the stream is about rape as well. So, this is going to be a good one. I'm going to play a song. We're going to have a little break right now, and we'll get right back to it. So, the theme for tonight's songs is 80s new wave pop rock. We've played Enola Gay by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, Come Dancing by The Kinks, which is one of their 80s hits. Take the Skinheads Bowling by Camper Van Beethoven, and now Here Comes Your Man by the Pixies. So enjoy this, and we'll get into the next topic, which is a Canadian rape story, and then we'll get into another Canadian rape story, which is the Lauren Southern autobiography story. All right, we'll be right back, guys. Yep, and we're back. So, we'll get into the next rape-adjacent topic that we have tonight. And this one is from Canada, and this title, this headline for this article, it both pissed me off and made me laugh my ass off. I don't know, because the National Post purports to be like on our side, and this is supposed to be like sympathetic to our point of view, but just the way that they word it is just absolutely fucking pathetic. It says non-citizen Johns shouldn't get sentence discounts for their crimes, when in reality what this should say is Jeep pedophiles should be fucking hung. Jeep pedophiles should be dealt with accordingly. They should be deported after being punished at the very least. It says an Ontario resident tried to buy sex from what he thought was a 15-year-old. He was given a conditional discharge to help him stay in Canada. Okay, so now they're cucking me on the article because I already read it. It's okay. We'll be back to it in a second. It's already been saved, so here we are. It says, in December 2023, Akash Kumar Kant, plus or minus 30 years old, plus or minus a month, made the mistake of arranging to have sex with a 15-year-old at a Mississauga Holiday Inn for $140. Only when he got there, that 15-year-old turned out to be a cop. He was arrested at the hotel with $140 in cash on hand and subsequently ended up in court, but he won't receive a criminal record for his actions, in part because of his immigration status. On June 25th, Kant was sentenced to a conditional discharge for committing an indecent act. I think this is a little more than a little bit indecent. For 3 months, he'll be under house arrest, during which time he can go shopping for 3 hours every Sunday, attend religious services. Yeah, I'm sure he's totally down to attend religious services when the last thing he was doing was trying to fuck underage girls in Canada. Medical appointments and travel to and from work. 12 months of probation will follow afterwards. Whether Ontario will appeal remains an open question, as the province won't reveal its plans until after July 25th. Why such a low sentence? Part of it came down to the fact that he pled guilty to a lesser offense. Peel Police told the Post that they initially charged him with obtaining sexual services for consideration from a person under 18 years, which carried a minimum 6-month jail sentence for first-time offenders, but instead they gave him indecent act. The Crown prosecutor asked for 90 days, but they didn't even get that. And it came down to the fact that the accused, Osh Kamash Kant, was not a citizen. Originally from India's Gujarat state, Kant came to Canada in 2019 for school, specifically a Master's of Engineering. He finished in 2021 and obtained permanent residency in 2023. So they say that we're bringing in engineers, doctors. Oh, they're all these engineers and doctors. No, a lot of them are fucking rapists. They're rapists. Why do you want to bring these people in when they come from the land of the rape? The land where you can't have a woman who's not completely covered up walking out in public in their urban districts without getting gang raped, without getting swarmed by a bunch of horny Indians. They even have a word for it. I don't know the stupid Indian word, but that's what they do over there. No, but these are doctors and engineers, sir. says also in 2023 he married his wife, who's currently here on a work visa set to expire in September. So then his marriage is a sham. It's done. Fuck her. Like, is she is she supposed to be his wife? Is there supposed to be any more legitimacy to his marriage or his potential marriage now that he tried to fuck a 15-year-old? No, they can't have him jeopardizing his marriage. The state can't jeopardize his marriage. No, not like he didn't do that already. This was an important consideration for Justice Paul Thomas O'Mara. Okay, write that down in your notebooks, guys. Write that name down, because these people have names. Who joined the Ontario Court of Justice in Kathleen Wynne era. Mr. Kant is a permanent resident seeking Canadian citizenship and professional licensing, wrote the judge. A conviction would not only delay his citizenship by 4 years, but could also prevent him from sponsoring his wife and obtaining his engineering license. He should be doing none of these things. He should not be here whatsoever. And now he's raping? Now, or attempting to rape minors? But no, think about his wife, who he's only getting here through these obscure immigration policies that shouldn't even exist in the first place. These immigration and professional consequences are far more severe than those faced by an offender, blah, 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 who is a Canadian citizen with no such vulnerabilities. Courts have recognized that such consequences can justify a more lenient sentence, including a charge. So that means that if you are a Canadian, you're not only gonna be treated worse, you're gonna go to jail for the minimum of 6 months or 2 years or whatever it was. Well, this guy gets off scot-free, and he gets to migrate to Canada, despite being what we would think is not eligible to come here. I already think he's not eligible at all, because we've had enough of your kind of people. We need to start sending you back by the boatload. But I guess here it is. You know, if we need a rapist engineer, I don't think we need rapist engineers that badly. I think India needs its own rapist engineers, and we should stop brain draining them. Because the more we take their high IQ rapist engineers, the rapist pedophile engineers, the less that they're going to have to engineer their own society, which is going to make more of them want to come here. And there's already enough of them here that are going to enable their immigration over here. So we should stop brain draining India by taking all their rapist engineers, and we should let their rapist engineers get into rape fights with all the other rapists over there. How about that? Omar also found, this is the judge, also found a lot of good in the accused, noticing his above average IQ. Oh, we have very high IQ, sir. We are engineers and CEOs here. His first-time offender status, his lack of mental illness or criminal record. So he has no mental illness? So he knew exactly what the fuck he was doing then. He has no mental... Either way, whether he had a mental illness or not, I'd still think that he's totally ineligible to be here. But it's like, so it's supposed to be good that he had no mental illness, meaning that he was very much in his mental capabilities to manipulate a 15-year-old girl and get her to take money for sex. Literally child rape, prostitution. Yeah. His modest and reserved nature and his low likelihood of reoffending. He did... I don't even know what this is referring to, but it says, he did show some response to younger females in phallometric testing, but he agreed to take therapy in light of the fine... Are they literally giving Jeets boners by showing them young females and then testing if they're pedophiles? I don't know what the fuck phallometric testing is. I've never heard of such a thing in my fucking life. What the hell? Phallometric testing, also known as penile plethysm. This looks like something that I would conduct upon somebody that I wanted to test for nefarious purposes. Phallometric testing, also known as penile plethysmography, is a method used to assess male sexual arousal and preferences by measuring changes in penile circumference in response to various stimuli. It's exactly what I thought it was! It is primarily used in forensic psychiatry to evaluate individuals with suspected paraphilias, those who have committed sexual offenses, and to assess risk in treatment progress. So they're literally showing underage girls to this pedophile Jeet to see if he gets a hard-on. And they're like, if he gets a hard-on, they're like, oh, well, as long as he's open to taking counseling for getting a boner when we show him young females, then I guess it's fine, because he's willing to take therapy. I did not know I was getting into this when I was reading this article originally. That is fucking messed up. Why don't you just cut their fucking dicks off? Why don't you just trebuchet them out into the ocean? Send them back in at least some capacity. They're literally hooking them up. It's like the fruit test. You guys were making jokes about how back in the 50s, well, this is a real thing that happened, but in the 50s, they would see if you're gay by hooking you up to like the fruit machine, see if you get a boner for guys or something like that. I don't know exactly how it worked, but they're literally doing this to see if a Jeet is a pedophile or not. And if they are a pedophile, it's okay. It's okay. We'll just make sure you take extra pedophile therapy. What in the actual fuck am I reading right now? In the judge's eyes, these overcame Kant's flaws, such as his apparent intention to see the fictitious 15-year-old on a regular basis. He said, we could see how a lot depending on how this goes, so he wanted to see, he had intentions to see this minor over and over again. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this is like a hardcore pedophile. The age of consent in Canada is 16 and this person is 15 years old, but that's still fucking, that's extremely fucked and greasy. Either way, anybody who's trying to meet 15, 16, 17-year-olds online is absolutely messed up. And especially not Jeets coming from other country where they have child rape brides and their Muslim fucking savior, Muhammad, had 9-year-old bride when he consummated with her. We don't want any of this shit over here. These people are fucking sick. We don't want them. We have to deal with our own creeps and sickos. We don't need yours, who are infinitely worse. It says after he was caught, he told the risk assessment psychologist that he never intended to go for underage girls. Yeah, because over there, like, underage is like 6 years old. The judge was troubled, on the other hand, by what he characterized as evidentiary weaknesses in the Crown's case. Namely, the judge was troubled that there wasn't enough evidence, even though there was enough evidence. So, whatever. It was obvious he was doing all these things, but they didn't see him right at the door of the hotel. Okay. Taking it all into account, O'Mara concluded a conviction would lead to severe collateral consequences, such as jeopardizing his immigration status, delaying his citizenship, and preventing him from sponsoring his wife, which would likely result in their separation. These consequences would be disproportionate to the offense and would undermine his rehabilitative progress. Sorry, we wouldn't want to undermine his rehabilitative progress. Well, he just got here and was trying to meet up with minors and have sex with, have rape with them. I'm sorry, we would not want to undermine that. We wouldn't want to undermine that. Sorry, sir, we cannot undermine your needful, okay? This is an uphill battle at the end, at the top end, Canadian, I don't know. I don't really need to read this editorialization. It says this is happening all around Canada. In Calgary last year, a man on a study visa was found guilty of groping a woman's genitals at a club. He was given a conditional discharge to lessen his chances of deportation. So the fact that these people are foreigners and, you know, they might actually be deemed to not be suitable to live here, because of that, they're being given soft as fuck sentences. And the fact that they'll be deported is seen as a punishment on par with somebody who's a Canadian citizen. That is absolutely fucking treasonous. The fact that these people are even here in the first place is treasonous to begin with. But I just love the language in the title, in the headline of this article. Non-citizen Johns. So non-citizen? So what, is it like a Ukrainian refugee? What is it? Who's the non-citizen? Right? Oh, they just don't have their, okay. John, so it's a John. This is just your regular Jonathan. Johnny come lately. This is John Mellencamp. This is Johnny Knoxville, you know. Johnny Bravo. This is just your regular Jonathan. A John, someone who frequents these brothels, you know. No, it's somebody who is creeping on online apps, online forums for minors, talking to minors, knowing that they are minors. That's not a John, that's a fucking pedophile. A John. National Post, this is your conservative outlet, calling like a literal predator, a literal child predator, a John. So what, is this kid a prostitute? Are you calling the kid a prostitute? You're fucking retarded, Jamie Sarkanak. This headline is a travesty. It's almost like they're trying to fucking make us mad. They're trying to signal us, like, please put us in our place. Please tell us what pieces of shit we are. Please make sure that the National Post is always a laughingstock so that we can be taken over by better, more benevolent people who actually care about society. No one wants your shit rag, the National Post. But I guess you guys were directionally correct that this is fucking nonsense and should be dealt with. Somebody says, seriously, who wants to measure the girth of Jeet dicks? That's fucked up. Yeah, they're literally doing, what is it, phallometric test to see how hard a Jeet gets when it sees an underage white girl. We all know that their dicks get hard whenever they see anything. So why do you need to fucking put a science to it? Just kick them the fuck out. Phallometric testing. I can't even fucking believe it. There might have to be a skit about that. I might have to do a comedy sketch about that. Anyways, that's not the last rape topic of the night. We have one that hopefully will be a bit more lighthearted because it doesn't involve underage minors potentially getting raped. it involves Lauren Southern, who's a dumb fucking bitch who's probably lying about getting raped. Or, I don't know. I am Edgy D, Canada's #1 rape detective. So I will be looking at Lauren Southern's accusations. I'll be looking at her new autobiography that she wrote called, I think it's called Is This Real Life? And we'll be seeing e-girl conservative influencer or former influencer, because she's so over this whole thing now, even though she just released a new book about her life. We'll be looking at her claims and her past that, you know, we didn't really want to know or talk about more, but now it's come to the forefront. And maybe you don't all really need to know about it, but at least it'll be illuminating for some greater questions, such as what it means to give a false or accurate rape accusation, and just the greater woman question in general, right? What are women's roles in politics, and what is a red flag for when a woman is participating in politics in a way that is very womanly and not going towards a greater, bigger picture, which you would think that political activism is supposed to go towards? All right, let's hear her out. Well, first, I just got to read a super chat from Jenstein. He says, still working. Thanks for the entertainment, brother. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Somebody says Lauren Southern is a Jew. I've heard her say, I've seen tweets of her, at least screenshots of where purported to be tweets of her saying that her real name is Lauren Simonson and that she's actually Jewish. I don't know how true it is. I would believe it, just judging by her behavior, but she doesn't particularly look like it to me, to be honest. I don't know. Could go either way. Alright. So where do we start with this whole Lauren Southern scenario? So, I know that she first came onto the scene in like around 2014, 2015, and she became employed by Rebel News. And by her own testimony, it seems that she was like a libertarian and like a young libertarian involved with whatever, like high school or extracurricular clubs, and she ended up going to the same kind of convention that Ezra Levant was at. And Ezra Levant, seeing like an 18-year-old libertarian girl, he immediately started cooming and rubbing his hands together, and he said, "Oy vey, a pretty young girl that I could pimp out for my conservative Zionist views for Rebel Media." So immediately she got hired without having any actual discernible talents or abilities, besides the fact that she was literally there at this convention and was somewhat interested in the topic, apparently. So she had a willingness to be a part of this. She was there. He saw her and literally salivated at the possibilities that they could make together, knowing that his conservative, pro-Zionist brand that is trying to hijack and consolidate the right-wing views, especially in Canada, and the right-wing audience in Canada, and also trying to get it as worldwide as possible. He saw Lauren Southern as a meal ticket, and apparently she was. So that's how she got her career there. But she has done this, my expose about the nasty world of the right wing. She's done this several times at this point. And in one of the last ones, she talks about how like she was given these opportunities, but then once she started getting more opportunities from this Rebel Media grift, they started inviting her to more things, and guys who would invite her to things would want to try to hook up with her. And she acted like it was the biggest, like, wake up, me too moment in the world. Like, oh my god, they don't just want me for my amazing talents and brilliant mind. They want me for my body and whatever else. Like, she's being fucking Me Too'd, even though the only reason she ever got the job is because she was a somewhat attractive 18, 19, 20, whatever-year-old girl that Ezra Levant was salivating over for his business. That's the only reason. So, no self-awareness, no accountability for a situation, and just accepting gifts from every guy who wants to give them to her. But, you know, you could say she's being exploited at this point. And, you know, I might agree with you, because maybe she's naive. But the thing is that she exploited every guy she possibly could who would do work for her, all their simps who would write all her material for her, and this is well documented. They would write her scripts for her, they would help produce it for her, all these things, and then she would go and try and sleep with whatever influencer would give her a leg up in this game as well. But if it was somebody approaching her with something, and then they wanted to get something similar out of it, now all of a sudden it's a Me Too, right? It's kind of like when you're ugly, when you're an ugly guy, you're an incel, and you come up to a girl and you say something, and then that's a Me Too. You sexually harassed her. But if the same guy did it and they had something that girl wants, whether it's looks, status, or money, then they'll go for it, they'll suck their dick immediately, and they'll do whatever they can to get in with that guy and go forward with them. But the other guy is literally getting a rape charge. That's what it sounds like in this situation, judging by all her different testimonies and everybody else's testimonies of people who have dealt with her. Like, literally her getting in relationships with influencers and then her cheating on them with all their friends, anybody else who she could monkey branch off to in order to get the next leg up in the industry. That's probably a good way to start off what she was, where she's going with this whole thing. But let's hear it from herself, and then we can get into it. So she says, "Good morning. Time to pour gasoline on what's left of my reputation and strike the match. All for a cause I should have committed to a long time ago. The truth. This is not real life. This is not real life is a memoir about the total unfiltered chaos behind the scenes of my time in media. From an evangelical upbringing and steady diet of Fox News to going viral and playing my first part in media disinformation to meeting with terrorists, neo-Nazis, intelligence agents, and political crime rings. There's coke binges, MDMA diplomacy with enemies, a nuclear-grade marriage meltdown, and trail of scandals across 5 continents. I was arrested in Turkey and Morocco, got banned from the UK, and maybe violated international sanctions. Finally, a psychotic break, addiction, and the dark art of conspiracy. If you're someone I met along the way and you're thinking, wait, am I in this book? Relax. Unless you committed a crime or did something genuinely insane, you're probably fine. If anything, I'm the one under the microscope. I still have no idea how much trouble I'll be in with the government, let alone everybody else, for publishing this. I guess we'll find out. No, I won't be doing interviews. Don't ask. I wrote this book to claw my way back to reality. I hope it helps you to do the same. With nothing but love, Lauren." And she's selling her fucking book on Amazon. Yeah. Number 1 new release in Christian theology, I guess. Yikes. But after having shown you that, some more information about her situation is she actually ingratiated herself to the alt-right. She got into a lot of trouble and got deplatformed for being alongside people like Martin Seltner or even Stefan Molyneux. And then eventually, after sleeping with as many of the guys in the sphere as she possibly could to get a leg up, quite literally, she backed away and then, you know, took a break from everything for a year or two and then renounced her old views once it got a little too hot, once she got a little too close to the truth that maybe white people deserve their own homelands. Then she came back as somebody who was too indoctrinated into the far right, and now she's become like a very moderate centrist, and she sees both points of view, and now she's just center right. Don't worry, she's not a Nazi. She doesn't believe in white identity. That was just something she flirted with, and she got taken advantage of, and that's how she tried to come back. And then she started doing some documentaries about things that were very benign, nothing that pushed the envelope at all, really. And then she slowly started delving into these exposés of all the bad actors within the alt-right. And basically everybody was literally trying to fucking rape her. So I don't know what to really say about whether she was raped or not by these people, mainly just Andrew Tate. But there's a lot to say about people who put themselves in these situations constantly. And also, I think the thing that really pisses me off is this whole movement is not your playground to have a female adventure and find yourself. To go and do a bunch of drugs with all these different people across the world and sleep with a bunch of different people and find yourself as a young woman. And then go around airing everybody's dirty laundry and getting involved in all these ridiculous situations that involve money, which you are fucking everything up by doing that. You are corrupting people as well as yourself being corrupted. And this is not a game. This is not a fucking joke. This is not for you to find yourself sleeping around in these spheres. You know, flirting with white identity. That is something that we really take stock in, that we really care about. We do not want to go extinct as a race. Especially because what will that do for humanity? What will that do for ourselves and our children? And yet you want to play like you flirted with the alt-right, and now you're reformed, and they all raped you, or whatever else. Like, it's all about you. You. It's a main character syndrome. Like, why can't you write a book about the things that you actually learned, about the ideologies that you experienced traveling the world? No, it's all about how everybody wronged you, how you were naive, and how it was a growing learning experience for you. This is not the place for that. Just go get banged out at college if you want to go do that. You know? Go get used up by a bunch of guys there. Go find yourself there. Because we have no time for this shit. We have no time for your whoring around, for you getting people wrapped up in this shit. I mean, it serves as a good example for the rest of us to know what kind of females to avoid. For you to be displayed to everybody as like a prominent red flag. But we don't have time for this. So just for more context here, Andrew Tate, the guy that she accuses of rape in her memoir, and she like loads this up so that people have to read her book. They have to buy her book to see the details of her alleged rape by Andrew Tate. But he says this just merely under her comment here. He says, she chooses the chapter about me to release for free to get attention so she could sell her memoirs of promiscuity. Okay, so it's the other way around. Coincidence, I'm sure. I'm glad you admit you're a drug addict in this post. That might explain why you forgot about all the texts you sent begging to see me again. Should I release them in my book? Called Sluts Who Begged Me. Now, this is a pretty fucking dirty, grimy exchange going on right now. And I said personally, I don't know who I believe. And someone said to me, well, Lauren Southern is saying all these things about him. Surely he would sue her if she was lying about it, right? So it's that whole, if you're being accused of rape and somebody doesn't sue you, then you know that it might be true, right? But apparently his lawyer's on the case. I don't take too much stock into either of those claims. Like, there's many reasons why you might not get sued right away for a claim like that. But this is apparently Andrew Tate's lawyer saying that he's going to sue them for defamation. But here's the claim itself about Andrew Tate's supposed rape against her. So it says, in a new expose, Lauren Southern alleges that Andrew Tate drugged and raped her in a hotel room. So this is her not detailed account, but detailed account. And of course it starts off with, I'd rather not give a detailed account, so we'll keep it simple. He carried me back to the hotel room and asked me to sleep beside him. I said yes. I was incredibly intoxicated, and some part of me convinced myself that because he was Tommy's friend, he wasn't particularly dangerous. It was a poor decision, but it happened. He kissed me. I wasn't expecting it, and I wasn't looking for it, but I kissed him back briefly and then told him I wanted to sleep. I was extraordinarily tired. He wanted to go further. I said no, very clearly, multiple times, and tried to pull his hands off me. He put his arms around my neck and began strangling me unconscious. I tried to fight back. He repeatedly strangled me every time I regained enough consciousness to pull at his arms. I prefer not to share the rest. It's pretty obvious. And then right under this, Andrew Tate says, 5,000 retweets. I'll release the text of her begging for money for her company and begging to see me again. This is getting pretty fucking heated at this point. We're getting some more context here. And here's Rollo Tomasi. This guy's like the head of the manosphere. He's like the autistic head of the red pill community. I think he's pretty cringe. This is the kind of guy that uses all red pill terms. Like everything is, red pill. Like I created 20 different terms to discuss women, and I'm actually like a top Chad though. I'm an alpha male, but I use my specific terminology, and everyone has to adhere to it, or they're fucking retarded. This guy's fucking weird. But apparently, he really cares about e-girls enough to like make exposés about them. And he had a chat with Lauren Southern's ex-husband in 2023. And he asked her, what was her involvement with Andrew Tate? I have to be careful about this. And so, Lauren Southern had a failed marriage and got knocked up with some non-white intelligence agent asset guy, which totally fucked with her career as being a political dissident, like literally banned from countries. This guy goes to different countries to do intelligence agency stuff for America. So right there, that's pretty fucked up. He could be ostensibly somebody who would be monitoring her. And then on top of that, she's in the pro-white sphere at the tail end of her career before she decided to pull it back and take a break. And she marries a guy who's not white. So, two huge things that aren't playing out to the conclusions that everybody thought she was coming to, if she had any respect for the information that she was putting out there or receiving. And then it all turned into a shit show, and she fucked Destiny. Literally Destiny, the bisexual streamer who is known for getting cucked on stream, getting cucked by his wife, and then them leaving him, and sucking guys' dicks. People thought that he was sucking Nick Fuentes' dick. Nick Fuentes says that he doesn't think... Nick Fuentes says that he reviewed the video himself, and he doesn't think that it was him, Nick, that was getting his dick sucked in the video, even though people provided some evidence that it was Nick getting his dick sucked in the video. But Nick watched it himself, and he confirmed it wasn't him. So, I'm going to have to take his testimony on that one. Also, Destiny has a teenage son that laughs about his father getting cucked online and praises Hitler. So, there's a lot of things going on here right now. But I'll tell you one thing. Fucking Destiny as part of your coming-of-age experience is not good for your permanent record. Let's just say that. So these messages say, what was her involvement with Andrew Tate? I have to be very careful about this. And this is her husband answering a random influencer. That's how pissed off he is. That's how much he wants to get ahead of the story, that he's just talking to randoms online. He says, well, this I can answer. Well, as she used to cry about this to me, as a few times it seemed like it was getting out online or something. Someone she had screwed over was trying to blackmail her back. I believe Milo. If Milo Yiannopoulos is involved in your drama, you might be cooked. You might have gotten close to too many gay Jews, and you might be fucked. He said, I believe Milo. Again, I'm like, I have a normal professional life. What the fuck is all of this? It's just not normal. So to really summarize, her and Tommy Robinson approached Andrew Tate to contribute money to an alt-right documentary. They went there and saw him personally in Romania. Lauren was attracted to Tate and visited him a few times and started making out and hanging out with him during the trip. She went back alone another time to secure money for the project. She got very drunk and she was on her stomach on his bed, and he got on top of her, pulled her underwear off, and was about to enter her from behind. Lauren was drunk and resisted, told him no, to stop, and then locked her legs together. Tate put her in a headlock and started to choke her out, telling her to open her legs. When he was finished, he said, so what, I raped you. You can't do anything about it. Fuck off. She was traumatized by this all and had, a few days later, had a cocaine bender in London with Tommy Robinson and her film crew. In the process, she got wasted again and gave Tommy Robinson a blowjob, despite him being married. Apparently, he told her they were splitting up. She was ashamed of all this, and we had a long and detailed conversation about this, as she would be in tears about it, as it was going to come out on different social medias at different times. I remained supportive and caring. It was before we were together. She's a self-inflicted damaged woman, mate. All for fame. It's actually sad. Oh, and she states she got herpes from him. These are all things she has explicitly stated to me. And then this guy says, tell me about Destiny. Lauren uses people to get what she wants. She comes across sincere about this, as she doesn't realize she is doing it. Basically, once your utility is done, she just forgets about you. That's why she has very few friends and struggles to maintain relationships with people of any kind. Destiny was her ticket to getting back in the YouTuber game as a somewhat reformed alt-righter, in my opinion. I had received information that they were hanging out a lot when her U.S. travel ban was lifted. Then they started sleeping with each other, as he is in some kind of relationship like that. Lauren then got pregnant, and it was a girl. They then just started formalizing the relationship, as I guess there was a kid involved. I do not know what happened to this child or anything moving forward, since, however, have since they told it was she's been seeing Tim Pool or something because he gave her a job. I don't. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. And then I remember this happening. This guy Rolo, he was like, I'm gonna get on top of this. And then Lauren Southern and her friends apparently sent him a fake ultrasound picture. So then he's like, this was Lauren Southern's baby. But then Brittany Venti, Lauren Southern's friend, was just like, I trolled you. So that means all the other messages were all a troll too as well. So it's one of those things where once something damning is getting leaked, then they fabricate something fake to add on to it, and then put it to the person to add to their narrative, and then they could prove that that's fake. Then it means that they tricked them all along, right? Either way, this is way too much of Lauren Southern's sex life. However, now it's going to be an ongoing thing. Did he rape her? What do you guys think? Did Andrew Tate rape Lauren Southern? Or is she just making it up after she had a consensual encounter? This is a question that many men, including many men that you have known in your life, whose lives have been ruined over such an accusation. Given the evidence that I just presented to all of you, what do you guys think? I want to look in the comments to see what people say. Because on one hand, Andrew Tate is a sick mulatto pimp. He's been doing this shit for a long time. He's been pimping out girls. He's been caught on camera, like whipping them with belts and getting aggressive in their ears. But then the women later come on camera and be like, this is part of the kink porn that we were doing, right? This is part of our cam girl thing. I like him. It was all consensual. So then it was like, oh, that was a dud. Meanwhile, he's been charged, him and his brother have been charged for bringing these girls into his like compound in Romania. But then later, from what I've heard, is that these women, they came over expecting a bunch of stuff. They didn't get what they wanted out of it. And then they were able to leave at any time. But then they concocted a story saying that they were being kidnapped. Or they were being confined against their own will. Now, that doesn't sound real to me as well. However, I do think that this guy is a sicko and he's capable of everything that was stated there. But then again, with women like Lauren Southern, what do you think she's trying to tell her husband? What story is she trying to tell her husband? That she just fucked all these guys and it was all on her own will? All because she was trying to get ahead in the game? But then this one particular guy just happened to rape her. You know, somebody who lies like that, who sleeps around like that, who cheats on everybody like that, at some point, they're going to be in a situation where they're cheating, they're lying again, and they get into a situation where they say yes to somebody, or they consent in one way or another to that person, and then the consequences of their actions fall back upon them. And in that situation, it can be easier for someone like that of low moral scrupulability to say, no, I actually didn't consent, and he did rape me there. Like, I only slept with him because he raped me. That is something that I've heard several times before in different scenarios. And you would think that she maybe had some evidence in these scenarios, like she would have went to the police right after, and she claims like, oh, I did kind of try to go to the police, but they didn't care. What kind of police don't care if you claim that you got raped and you want to go all the way through with it? Like, are all the police, they just randomly know who Andrew Tate is and they're already on his side and just disregarding everything you've said? Doesn't make any sense. Now, at the same time, I think this Andrew Tate guy, he definitely could pull something off like that if he wanted, and he could use that as a way, like use all his power as a way to silence her. You You know, as me, Edgy D, the top rape detective here in Canada, when I look at an accusation of rape, the first thing I go to in my evidence kit, my rape evidence kit, is the color wheel. I pull out the color wheel, and on one end there's the dark brown complexion, and on the other end there's a white complexion. And I put that up against the accused, and if I see that they're more along the white end of the spectrum of the color wheel, you know, I start to give them some plausible deniability on the situation. I start to give some charity to their arguments. But when they're on the other end of the scale, you know, I'm not so sure anymore. And I think that they're guilty as fuck. But this Andrew Tate guy, he is actually half white, half black. He's a mulatto. So he falls somewhere in the middle of this color wheel right here. So this could go either way. It could go up or down. I really don't know what to think about it. As the top rape detective here in Canada, I am stumped by this case. I find it inconclusive. I need to see more evidence. Maybe I need to see a 23andMe or an Ancestry.com profile. Okay? What do you guys think? Okay, now I'm going to actually read your opinions. Dr. Jenstein with a generous super chat says, I would like to meet you, give you some wisdom. No rapey rape, I promise. You know, I would like to meet you too one day, Jenstein. You've been very generous to me. I believe you. I believe all Jensteins when they say they would never rape me. I believe you do probably have a lot of wisdom. I don't know in which form it would come in. And yes, I would like to meet you one day. We have never met. But maybe one day the planets will align and we will meet in real life. Yeah, I really am a good detective. The color wheel is all you really need to know. Somebody says, I don't fucking know, I don't fucking care. Yeah, I don't really care what the verdict on it is. I just think this is a really good textbook case on the accumulation of evidence. Because it comes down to... Well, here's another good example. So this is what Tommy Robinson says. The cokehead who she supposedly blew the next day while she was trying to, like, recover from her supposed rape. So I've heard a different story years ago about how she was raped by Andrew Tate and then she went for consolation to Tommy Robinson, and then he raped her as well. And I was just listening to this from the person telling me, and I was like, I don't believe this for a second. Like, yeah, it's possible that but I think the word rape is being used much too liberally here. Like, you were maybe taken advantage of, or as a younger woman, you were lied to. At the end of the day, you're an adult, and you being involved with these people, you have to have some sense of responsibility for yourself. And you also can't have it both ways, where you're using people sexually and then complaining about being used sexually as an adult. That's just extremely pathetic. If a guy ever did something like that, everyone would laugh them out of the fucking room.
Here's a horrible fact, okay? I was there when Lauren Southern travelled to Romania with Andrew Tate. I was in the hotel room next door. When I walked out in the morning when we were leaving, Lauren Southern's at the door kissing him, okay? So when you read what she says there, like he's raped her, that's what she's implying. It's a bit weird to be kissing him on his door and then get in the car and message him the whole way. Insanity. Absolute bullshit. Here's a horrible fact. Okay?
Well, there you have it. That's from another guy who was there, but, you know, these guys could just be a bunch of dickheads and all corroborating the same story. I do believe that Tommy Robinson didn't rape her because he's such a fucking cokehead. He probably can't get his dick up enough. So he'd probably get all jacked up on coke enough to want to do the rape. And I do think that that sick, retarded man, Zionist freak, is capable of rape and probably wants to rape. But when he gets so jacked up on his cocaine binges, he's no longer able to get it up, so he can't rape. So, luckily, Tommy Robinson has neutered himself in his psychotic cocaine states. So that problem solved itself. But, yeah. There's a lot of crazy shit going around with these people. And I think all of these people should probably get a trebuchet out into the ocean. Andrew Tate, the mulatto pimp, using white women to scam white men out of their life savings. Deplorable. I do think that at least Andrew Tate has some redeeming qualities when it comes to the content and some of the messaging that he's been putting out there. He at least has like a spark in his eye of somebody who is actually entertaining. Tommy Robinson, to me, is just a fucking dickhead. He's done some good stuff with the Muslim grooming gangs, but that's where it starts and where it ends. And the rest of it is just pure Zionist shilling. He's just a dickhead with very few redeemable qualities. And he always comes back for his paycheck when it comes to this conservative sphere. And Lauren Southern, I don't know why anyone would listen to anything she has to say. She obviously slept her way into any positions of prominence that she has, and the fact that she's like a slightly above mid e-girl who says the same opinions that guys have said, but say it much more intelligently, and she just steals off of them. You know. Another thing that's interesting about this case, it reminds me of the classic John Ghomeshi case in Canada. Like, if we're going to give it a Canadian context. This guy, he was like an interviewer for a popular show on CBC, John Ghomeshi. He was in some Canadian band, and he literally raped a trailer park girl, as she was known as. Literally raped a trailer park girl. So this is Sarah from Trailer Park Boys. That's what I mean by trailer park girl. And, or no, I think it was Lucy, actually. He raped Lucy, and by raped it means that she was claiming that he was beating the shit out of her while they were having sex. And that was her main accusation, that he was like sexually assaulting her, and they had a long court case. But then when during the court hearings, they had all these text messages where she's just repeatedly texting him against his will, asking her to like use your force against me again, get rough with me again, I want you back, like her really thirsty for him. And I don't know if you could consider the initial interactions like that to be assault or rape or anything, if that's how the woman is responding going into the future. I think likewise it's probably the similar case with Lauren Southern. Anyways, as me, Edgy D, the top rape detective in Canada, I investigate every rape. I get in there. I inspect the hymen to see what has happened. I declare that this case is inconclusive, but I do have a verdict and a sentencing, and it's that all these people should go to hell and never pollute my feed again. Except for maybe Andrew Tate, if he has some good funny takes. I wouldn't mind seeing him around again. But he is a fucking absolute piece of shit mulatto pimp. And I'll never forget that. Somebody says, legal defense. I can't even get it up. I had too much cocaine. No, that's pretty good. Fucking overruled. Somebody says, I learned something today. There's such a thing as phallometrics. Well, this could be applied in the case too. Like, the next day, the phallometrics, like, Lauren Southern should have called the police. They get the rape kit, and then they get the phallometric thing out to see how hard Andrew Tate has been in the last hour. Maybe see how hard Tommy Robinson has been for his blowjob, to see if he was indeed able to get it up or enough. If he was able to get it up enough or not in order for it to be considered a rape. Because if he's just flopping around, I don't know. That goes more towards like a plea deal for indecent act, as we saw before with Sakosh Akos Kasing over in Canada. But either way, we've come full circle. We've got to start getting more phallometric testing to test how hard each man is at any given time in the day, to make sure that they're not thinking impure thoughts. And I think that is a great way that we can end this stream off tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. I hope we all learned something tonight. Only phallometrics can solve this. I want to thank all the super chatters tonight, Mr. Bullock and Dr. Jenstein, who just sent another super chat. Thank you very much. He said, there's more to life than sex and money. Shout out to True Love and Friends, CRJ and Mrs. Speaker. Well, that was very nice of you, and I appreciate that. And I agree with you, too. There's more to life than just fucking ingesting all sorts of psychedelics into your system and then getting hard and doing the dirty. That there's more to life than that, and it is true friends. It's the friends that we meet along the way. Life is an adventure, it's a journey, it's the friends we meet along the way, but we also need to have a greater purpose. And for me, I find my greater purpose is to express what I believe in and push forward with that. And what I believe in is the greater community, the biospiritual community of the white race, defending itself from extinction. And just telling the truth in general. Defending free speech, that's defending the very fabric of reality. Defending what we can and can't say, what we can and can't think. And if you can or can think something, then you should be able to say it. And if you can't say it, then what is the point in thinking? Thank you. I've been Edgy D. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers. More 80 songs for you to play out.
party.